Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doby, and this evening, I've got the inimitable pleasure of speaking with the Roc Nation National Director of Radio and Promotions. His name is Reza Sarrafieh, and he has an amazing story, an amazing journey. The man wanted to be a lawyer at some point, and now he's in radio promotions. He has been responsible for mega star promotions from Buju Banton to Snow Allegra to God. He's taken people dismiss SoundCloud for some reason, but he has taken SoundCloud artists and given them major radio campaigns that made a difference in their career. Welcome, Reza.
Okay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. That's a very kind intro. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. So look, we talked about it from the inside looking out. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned that you had wanted to be a lawyer and things like that at one point, but from the inside looking out, talk to us about Reza Sarrafieh.
I mean, you said it, man. Like this is my life made a 180 when I went into the music business, and I enjoyed the first 15 years, and then I tried to leave the business, to be honest, and then you know I married a beautiful woman, and I started having children and a family. And to be entirely honest, it's not easy to have a family in our industry. If you want to be successful, it's you either have to have the drive to win or the drive to run your family. It's hard to have both. So you know, at one point I left, and now it's a great place where I'm at right now. I'm very happy to be here at Roc Nation now and doing what I'm doing over here at Roc, and it's a beautiful place. And to be honest, it's a great time to be in the industry. It's exciting stuff. It's changing very quickly. It's not jaded. It's not in a plateau or a rut. So it's very exciting.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely changing. I'll go with that. I don't make music or promote music or anything. I'm just a journalist. So the exciting. Yeah, I got a good job. I like my job.
Yeah, you got the best job.
Because you guys have some headaches within the industry, a lot of the politics and the nuances that go with, you know, making a campaign happen, getting an artist maybe to cooperate with some of the promotional platforms that you lay out for them in your plan and things like that. They may have their own views. So I want to know, can you put yourself on mute? Okay. Never mind. Okay. Yeah. So I would like to know what's like the biggest challenge or the biggest excitement for you in putting together a plan, selling that plan, and executing it and seeing the results.
It's definitely seeing the success of a plan. And I mean, I'm sure it sounds very generic, but it's seeing the success of a plan, because plans have to be so targeted these days. Just as you were saying, it's changed a lot, and there's no more cookie cutter. You know, back in the day, it was very simple. It was, you know, get them on TV, get them on magazines, and get them on radio, and you had a success. But now there's so many different avenues to promote and to circulate your music and your awareness of your artist, that the biggest feeling I get is pride when it connects with the right audience, because that's really the goal now, is to find the audience for your product. And it's always been the goal, but now finding them has to be much more targeted than it was before. Before it was a mass blanket attack, and now it's much more targeted. So it's always a great feeling when you strike on gold. It's like striking gold. When you finally find that niche audience, it's like the gold miners that were digging forever and finally struck gold. It's a great feeling at that point.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned that you had a career 15-year run. I know that you were doing your thing at Interscope Records, which is, of course, one of the biggest West Coast labels. Definitely made a difference in the West Coast scene, and you were a part of that. So, and now you had a break in service, so to speak, as if you were in the military. You had a break in service, and then you came back to the industry. What was like the defining moment, if there was one, that really brought you into the entertainment industry as a career?
You know, The defining moment for me was the night I met a gentleman by the name of Garnett March when I was waiting on tables, and he, he offered me my first opportunity to be in the business, and that was when I was 22 years old, waiting on tables. But beyond that, I think the other defining moment was really being able to. I mean, I bought a house for my wife and my children based on my skills and talent in this industry that's been so good to me, and it's it's a blessing. It's a real blessing. This business where I mean, I didn't need it. I dropped out of I dropped out of university. I'm technically by all intents and purposes just a high school graduate, and it's been a successful industry for me. And no school loans to speak of. I've got a nice savings account. It's been very good to me. So I'm very blessed that I had the moment to meet Garnett, for him to give me an opportunity to be in this industry, and also for taking the step to leave Interscope and start my own company. It really helped me out too. And now here I am at Rock Nation, where I get the chance to do many different things than I have before. It's a beautiful place to be, man. There's been a few defining moments, but I think there'll still be more before I'm even done.
I'm sure. I'm sure. You're doing a great job. People are depending on you and trusting you with their careers, and a major entity such as Rock Nation that says you're our guy and we're going to follow your lead. That's a lot of responsibility, but it's got to be also a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, definitely. It really is, and it's an honor. It really feels like an honor. And the level of artists that I get to work with are amazing artists, and it's definitely humbled me and made me feel a renewed love for the actual industry, and for the business of it, and also for the humanity side of it too.
Okay. Let's talk about the humanity side. People don't look beyond the glitz and glam and the knuckleheads out there spreading money across their Instagram and all that stuff. Let's talk about the humanity side. I mean, you deal with a lot of personalities, a lot of issues, people overcoming issues, dealing with creatives who have special needs. I call them special needs kids. How do you deal with that, and how do you connect and reach out and make a difference for them?
I really enjoy the level of artists that I get to work with here, because a lot of the artists are of the developing nature over here at Rock, and to that extent, they're very receptive, and I love that about the artists. I've never worked at a place where every artist is so committed, aware, present. It's usually the artists might be a little checked out. They might feel themselves. They might feel, whatever the case may be. I haven't come across that here at all. Every artist I've had the pleasure of working with over here at Rock has been, thankfully, very eager, very excited. You never want to be working any harder than the artists themselves, and these artists are working just as hard as me. So, and that's not to toot my own horn, but that's saying something. These, we come from a generation of wake up and work to the very end, and wake up again early and keep doing the same thing. And these artists are there to do it, from at Rock over here, from Kalen 2 For Real, from Snow Allegra, from Ruben Vincent, who signed through Ninth Wonder. Bobby Fishscale's out here working. We got a lot of artists that are really on the streets doing their thing. Vori, Tafia, these guys are all out here working hard. Even some of the ones you don't hear from. Ombre, who just put out an album, has been working very hard, writing songs, putting out music. We have another guy named Harlow who's been doing some music too. Maida, who's been touring. It's all been a real blessing to meet all these really talented artists that are chasing their art and working hard. And it's a blessing to see and be a part of the other aspects of their careers outside of just radio promotion, because I really get to see the other parts of it being here too, since we're a small indie kind of label. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's nice to see their growth, because every department really relies on one another intricately here at the indie feeling of the label where we're at. So it's a great place.
You talked about getting to know them individually. Is there a commonality among the big stars, like Snow Allegra and Buju Banton and cats like that? Is there a commonality among those mega stars that you go, wow, this is something that makes one great. This is one makes a good person. those tidbits that you can share. I mean, I don't want to put anybody on blast or anything like that, and we're not. But there's something about these people that endears them and connects them to a large audience.
Yes.
And you get to work with them intimately. What have you picked up?
I mean, I haven't had the pleasure of working with Buju personally since he's not able to come over here, and I haven't been able to go over there. But it comes across from the work that he does, and some of the other great artists I've had the pleasure of working with over at Interscope, and even here, Snow Allegra herself, you mentioned too. My biggest belief is that it's the belief in themselves. Every one of the ones that I've had the pleasure of like being in awe of and working with, and I see that this is a great talent, has always had to overcome quite a bit of adversity, and that adversity would have stopped a lot of other people, even many that I come across along the way that you might not have heard of that we mentioned right now. The ones that we do remember and the ones that you do hear of are the ones that really have a strong belief in themselves. And and it's ironic you mentioned that, because in Snow's show, she just finished doing her headlining tour. There's a portion of her show where she stopped and she really made it a point to let everybody know that, like, I went through several years of people telling me no, 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 and here I am now performing in front of 4,000 people at a sold out show. So it's always self-belief that sets apart the ones that I think are great from the ones that are there as a sometimes they're there for a gimmick or a fad, or just in hopes of making it, and it's not really their true self. Those that believe in themselves are the ones that become the household names.
I love that. Self-determination, intestinal fortitude, keep going, and know that you can do it. Not just believe that you can do it, know that you can do it. What I mean?
Intestinal fortitude. That was well put right there. Yeah.
That's dope. One of your specialties has been exposing, SoundCloud acts who may have, gone unnoticed. Right? What made you pick that platform? There are so many, but SoundCloud, obviously, and they're doing great things now. But what made you pick SoundCloud to work from?
Not gonna lie to you on that one, Jay. It picked me. I mean, I at the stage that I was at, I was 37 years old. I wasn't even familiar with SoundCloud.
Wow.
A Lil Pump fell in my lap, and they came to me, and then from there, one led to another, and then it was the Trippie Redd, the Tekashi, the Lil Xan, and so forth. It's just that it was so fresh and new, and I had the first experience with it, and I was lucky enough to really just get the first feel for it, because coming from the radio world, SoundCloud was a whole different world. And it was like a sub-layer or subgenre that was out there. And, a lot of us that were in the world of radio had no clue that there was such a huge demographic of young children that were so in tune with music that we'd never even heard of before. I mean, I'll be entirely honest with you. When I met Lil Pump, I didn't know who he was. I had no idea what I was involved with until I witnessed it in person, and I realized the power of SoundCloud and what it did. And that was the beginning of radio not really being the gatekeepers anymore, and having to, play ball with other people in their markets to be able to get access to artists.
Okay. Well, you've obviously, taken them from point A to point Z and hit a bunch of benchmarks in between. But at this point, with the streaming world, a lot of people discount radio, terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
How do you see that, and like how did you handle the streaming, the addition of the streaming to the arsenal that you already had?
It's funny, like as I think about it, where you're sitting right now, the main radio station where you're at is Hot 103 Jam.
KPRS, yes.
KPRS, right. So KPRS was actually, and Myron's a good friend of mine, so I mean no offense when I say this. Myron is a great DJ, he's a great programmer. And at the time when I came through with Lil Pump, and I remember this, they're like, no, we don't want nothing to do with them. I'm like, look, dude, just send your night jock down there to come record the show and get the content. And they're like, well, what do I do with it then? I'm like, you have a digital director, have your digital director. that was the transition, 2017, 16, of like really teaching radio how to use this streaming world to their benefit. Radio has had the eyes and ears of communities for such a long time. They felt safe in their audience, and they didn't feel like they had to do anything to really retain them. And now every year they're losing anybody under 20, then it's under 21, then it's under 22. And it's like gradually losing all their young end. And it all relies on them having to understand the model of what streaming is. Streaming is on-demand listenership is what a lot of the fan base wants. So if you provide them with that outlet online somewhere where they can also have your live stream of your station, or if they want some on-demand interactive content, that's really what it is. I mean, and that's how it's affected us, is that we've gone from a model where our audience was held captive to us, to where they're free to do what they want. So we have to make sure we want to keep them there. So attention has changed. I mean, the songs are no longer 4.5 minutes long. If you haven't noticed, the songs are maybe 2 minutes, 2.25.
Right.
If you're lucky, you'll get 3 minutes. It's like, in general, a lot of it has changed to cater to the fact that people don't have a long attention span, and they also don't like unfamiliar stuff. So you have to really try and hit them from every side you can, and then also do short segment stuff. That's essentially what the streaming world has done to it, is taking away attention span.
I used to do street promotions and travel across the nation, you know, city to city, hanging posters, destroyed. I got tickets for vandalism because I put up so much stuff. It was crazy. Yeah. But along the way, I found a lot of radio stations that I liked, you know, like Houston, The Box was one of my favorite, Hot 97 in New York. I can't tune into those individually. So the TuneIn app, not to plug anybody, but the TuneIn app gave me access to the streaming side of terrestrial stations. They took a break. Now they've come back. They got a new investor, and they're pushing out again. What other apps have you found that you worked with to connect?
To be fair, I don't dabble in the apps too much, because we're still compartmentalized to the point where terrestrial radio doesn't compete with them yet. We're different, right? Each radio station has their own app. I appreciate those that do. Even KJLH out here in LA has their own app. You know, it's very smart. That's right. Stevie's got his own app. You know, it's that's where it's going. iHeart definitely led the charge. You've got the Cumulus stations on the iHeart Radio app. You've got all the other entities. That's why TuneIn's having a hard time. iHeart just has a better interface, and it's easier for them. You know, but in general, I think that's something where the stations need to learn to lean in and add more options for the listener, so the listener still cares and listens. I mean, let's be honest with each other. Terrestrial radio has maybe 5 to 10 years until Wi-Fi is in every car, and you know it. And the hard thing I have to explain to a lot of people is, you know, we live in major metros. In major metros, we have data, we have Bluetooth, we can afford it, but there's still a large chunk of America that doesn't have that capacity, and they don't have all the data in the world to stream Bluetooth audio into their car, if their car even has Bluetooth. So FM radio is still very important, but you know, it's not long before Wi-Fi is a public utility, and it's in every car. So radio is blessed to have what it has for now.
Okay. Without giving away any trade secrets, can you kind of give us an overview of the nuts and bolts of a radio campaign and how you execute?
No, don't really trade secrets to it, man. It's all relationships. It's data. It's become much more data driven. It used to be purely relationships with some data. Now it's heavily data with some relationships. And you know, its control has become more controlled, meaning there's less people controlling more outlets. So there's really no trade secrets. It's just a matter of access to the right people that control stuff, knowing how to roll something out, and having the relationship to be able to reach the people, because space is limited, and it's all about having a symbiotic relationship where we look out for each other. It's definitely a very what do you call it? It's where the relationship is very equal. So it's very give and take.
Symbiotic relationship. Okay.
Definitely a symbiotic relationship, but we both definitely rely on each other. There has to be reciprocation, right, for us to succeed, because radio needs the the music that we put out, and when the music that we put out needs radio and needs the outlets to be able to promote it. So one of us can't survive without the other. So it's definitely one relationship where we have to work hand in hand and we have to work hard. It's and with the advent of new outlets and new applications that come, it becomes even harder with things to do, because your checklist of things to do as a human being becomes almost machine-like, because you have to do so much.
Yeah. I, don't envy you your position, because, there's so much to do and so many options. Like you said, at my age, I'm just getting used to Instagram, TikTok. I just created it, and I've never, posted anything, but I'm trying to follow and discover. But I
Yeah.
also, at the same time, I'm getting 200 pictures a day in my inbox. I'm like, how do you, it's fed to you. So
Yeah.
you have, missions and campaigns and things that you're doing, but
Yeah.
like, how do you prioritize which things you monitor? And do you have maybe a list in order of importance? I'm asking so I can educate myself.
So in what I do, very specifically, the Shazam chart matters more than anything else for me. So I do prioritize. I look at BDS, I look at Mediabase, I look at Shazam, and then I look at, social mentions. I look at, any kind of activity where there might be over-indexing somewhere. But to be the most honest with you, Shazam is the most immediate for me, because that's what's most useful for me to use at radio and to go and achieve what I need to do, and very specifically in what I do. So, and you're right. And it's, so many outlets out there that everybody values things differently. But because of how I'm rewarded in this business and what my goals are, I'm definitely looking at the three things I mentioned: charts and Shazam.
Okay, charts and Shazam. Now, all of those are subscriber things. You have to pay for them, or you have limited access. But you're with Rock Nation, so you have unlimited access. It's not fair.
Shazam is free, just so you know. You can go to Shazam, and Billboard has a free version of their chart once a week for those that don't have paid subscription. Mediabase is definitely not public unless you go to, well, USA Today publishes the Mediabase chart every Sunday, I believe. So there are public versions. It's just you can't keep up to date, in real time or day to day, but you can get a weekly version of it.
Oh, okay. So talk to us about Paz Promotions. Are you still doing that, or have you?
Well, yeah, that company has been existing, by itself. I have a couple of people running it now, thankfully, because I just focus on the Rock Nation stuff. Pars is still, doing its thing and definitely paying attention to doing the Afrobeat stuff and helping some of the other labels and consulting. And they're staying busy. I built a good staff over there, so I can definitely just handle what I'm doing over here while that entity just works by itself. That's the blessing right now in our business, is that there is some passive income still.
Okay, Pars Promotions. I apologize for I don't have my glasses on. No excuse, but I'm like, so yeah, tell your people to shoot me some promo. Send it over. I will support in our music lounge and things like that. We'd love to have
Absolutely. We're definitely going to be adding you to our list, so we make sure everything we're working and they're working, we send over to you, both Rock Nation and Pars.
Beautiful thing. I appreciate it. Any advice to the younger artists as they're starting to build up and get ready for radio?
Yeah, definitely. Stop coming out here with your stuff and not having everything ready. You need to know what publishing is. You need to know what your royalties are. You need to have your stuff listed. You need to have that encoded. You need to have all your stuff together. And the most important thing you need to do is understand that it's a business, and closed mouths don't get fed. So treat it like a business and be respectful, and, learn the business. Don't, if it comes to radio, you need to understand that radio, 1 to 5% of what they think about is what music to play. The other 95% is promotions and advertising and other stuff. So, if you understand a radio station, you have a better chance of getting what you need out of that radio station. And yeah, if your business is put together properly, that radio station is going to respect you better too.
Okay, I respect that. I don't know how many interviews you've done, but probably a lot. And knowing who you're working with, they probably keep you in front of the media quite a bit. Somebody's probably asked you this question, but I'm asking you anyway. What was the most surprising part of the business I know that you work with Interscope and then you transition into radio and PARS, you got that going on. But what was the most surprising part about the business overall of the music business for you?
The lack of structure.
Mm.
Everything I'd done before music business was corporate, and then I came to bit music, and music is essentially your talent can put you anywhere at any moment. And if someone likes you, you could be the janitor one day and the boss literally the next day. It's not like anything else. It literally you can fail upwards too. There's many sides to it, but it's just very interesting in that sense. There's no structure.
Mm. Okay. We talked about what's the most satisfying for you earlier on, but what's the most fun?
The most fun for me is when I get to involve my children in the perks that their friends don't get to have, and they actually take a pride in it, and they like that. I mean, that's what really gets me off, is giving my children access and getting them excited and stuff. So the perks I get for myself, I feel are wasted because I don't find as much joy as my kids do.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a couple of those. Not as many as you, obviously, but the media, we get some press trips and things like that. Like, yeah, you like this? Okay, well, come work for me.
Yeah.
we could do this more often. That would be dope.
Right.
Personally, as you view your career and your journey, are you happy the way things turned out? And do you have future plans to further impact the industry because you've done it for so long?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the way things have turned out, man, especially like sitting here today and the way the pandemic has panned out for people and things have happened in the last few years. And in general, just watching how some of the people that went on the paths that I was on and they continued down it, I'm very happy where I'm at. And I'm excited for what the future holds because, like I was saying earlier with you, this is a very ever-changing industry, and it's progressing quickly, and the things it's progressing into are pretty exciting. And it's great to see how much more in command the artist is and artistry is standing out. And the fact there's more of it out there, I think it's making it so that the artists that are worth it are standing out more amongst it. So I love where it's at, and I'm excited. I'm excited about where I'm at, and where the future holds is definitely much greater things. I think we're all gonna make more impact because it's now the cast of my generation are the ones that are starting to really take some really good leadership roles and leaving their marks and starting to do things and becoming the it names in the industry. And I love to see it. A lot of my peers are running some great things out there, and I'm very proud of the friends I came up with. So it's a great time right now.
Okay. I would like to not bore you and just ask you a couple of more questions. Um, what has been the funniest WTF moment for you thus far in your career? Something you'd be like, did that just really happen? Don't put anybody on blast, just the situation.
Yeah, I'd have to say it was the most recent that comes to memory right now is we were just in Las Vegas, and I was with an artist, and we were having dinner, and there was a couple sitting next to us, and there was about 5 of us at my table, and this clearly inebriated middle-aged white lady decides that it's a good idea to come over and start trying to take the chain off my artist's neck and try and put it on herself.
Wow.
It's a $75,000 chain he's wearing around his neck. So thankfully it was a younger artist, and he thought it was, he understood the situation.
Okay.
There are those that no matter what are going to act the way they're going to act, and there are those that can assess the situation and really and thank the goodness that he was the latter. He knew how to tone it down. He knew what didn't call for an overreaction. But I mean, it was hilarious. Like, this lady just felt so entitled to just walk up and just grab this man's chain. Like,
are you kidding me?
I'm at first I wasn't sure how he was going to react because he is a street artist, and it was thankfully not as bad as it could have been. That was definitely WTF right there, Jerry.
Heads up, y'all. You ain't got to be in the street to get your chain snatched.
In a high-end steakhouse in Las Vegas.
Wow. Yeah, the sense of entitlement. I'm sorry, but folks are getting bolder every day.
And she thought it was cute and funny. She was drunk, so I'll give her
Right.
that. She was definitely very drunk.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Over your career, in your dealings with the media, has there been a question that we have failed to ask that you've always wanted to address?
No, man. I mean, especially not in the last few years.
Right. Okay.
Maybe years ago, I forgot about it now. But in the last few years, like if it hasn't been said on the media, I don't think it's been thought in life. Like with the amount and the amount of media I look at between Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord. There's not a single question that hasn't been asked, bro, and asked way too many times sometimes too. And it's some things get beat to death out here. I don't. I'm numb to the news now, to be honest, Jerry. There's so much of it.
Mm. Every minute, and the citizen journalism.
Yeah, the citizen journalism. Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Very much.
Are you able to party to music as a consumer now, or do you find yourself analyzing it all the time?
I listen to talk radio. What are you talking about?
Oh shit! Okay, stay away from music. You like? Oh no!
I play it. I actually love the music, and it's funny because like at first I wasn't feeling some of the new music about 4 or 5 years ago because the music started going a little emo and it started going a little different, especially the hip hop music did. But it's really grown on me, and it's like I can admire the creativity of the new generation and the way the music is distributed is different. The way that they really consume music is different. Even the way they make the music is different, and I can appreciate it. Like I do like the music, and I do find myself really appreciating some of the playlists that just let me just not think about stuff and just let it play. It's nice.
Okay. So okay, all right. See, I can't even listen to the playlist. I have tried. I have, all the streaming services, of course, have gifted me with subscriptions, and I'm like, I'm trying to listen, but I always find myself going back to, my DOC playlist or some Dre or something like that. I'm not a real big fan of the new rap. I don't call it hip hop. So I'm an EDM guy. I like dubstep now.
Hey man, you're from the Midwest. You can't help it. The house and the dubstep. That's what it's about out there.
No, bro, I'm from South Central. Don't get it twisted. I just happen to live out here.
Got you. Okay, got you.
Yeah. I just happen to live out here. Yeah, I retired from the military out here in 2013.
Oh, there you go.
Got back into the journalism, and so I had a break in service from the entertainment industry as well.
There you go.
Yeah, but I love it, man. What's the most important thing we should know about Reza Sarrafieh?
That I just love people, man. I love people. Don't be shy to reach out to me. Don't be shy to talk to me. Don't be reach out to ask me anything you want. I'm out here just trying to be a good family man, break some artists, and have some fun doing it. So,
okay. How do they reach out to you, bro?
Instagram, Reza Sarrafieh, TikTok, Reza Sarrafieh, Twitter, Reza Sarrafieh. Those are. You don't even need a phone number these days. Social media is just as good as a phone number.
Yeah, man, I have been surprised at the phone calls that have come from my Instagram. I'm like, why do you feel like you have the right to call me? Give me a message.
that part. Hey, phone calls are a thing of the past, Jerry.
Yeah.
Text me. That's the only way you're gonna reach me.
Yeah. Okay, man. Reza, I really appreciate the time that you spent with us. I'd love to have you back again as we see some more evolution in the radio world, and definitely have you as a subject matter expert, man.
Be happy to be back, man. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, everybody. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Reza Sarrafieh, he is the National Director of Radio Promotions for Rock Nation, and the man is giving young unknowns an opportunity, just like he's working the big names, and that is something that we need. And hopefully you will pay attention to him. Follow him on social media. The man is open to answer questions and give you guidance and things like that. Don't bug him. but ask good questions and get some education and be ready to roll for radio. And who knows, it might be Pars Promotions who picks you up and is doing the work. That is his company. And or who knows, you might get a deal with Rock Nation and you'll be dealing with Reza directly as your campaign unfolds. Hype Magazine live sessions, man, I really appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
All right.